A lot of us go through our own problems in life, and maybe even watching this right now, you have your own problems that are just eating away at you. And a lot of the times we tend to magnify our problems, making them bigger than they actually are. And we tend to lose focus on the one who told us not to worry. It's repeated many times in the Bible that God says, do not worry or do not fear. And that is because He is with us in every situation. In Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 to 34, Jesus is on the topic of not worrying. He tells us that God knows what we need, and He will supply those things if we just first seek His kingdom. Jesus says in verse 27 of chapter 6 that who can add a single cubit to his stature by worrying, which basically means which one of us in this entire world by worrying can add even a single second to their lifespan. You worrying is not fixing anything. It's actually just creating more problems. And when we tend to allow our problems to consume us, we just end up being more stressed, more scared, maybe even get angry about why we're even in this situation. And everything just keeps going downhill. And while yes, it might be normal to feel that fear, we shouldn't allow ourselves to be consumed by it. Yes, you may feel like your back is up against the wall, but how about trying to replace that wall with Jesus? Jesus will always be with you. There is no situation that you go through that God is not in with you. Remember the time Daniel's friends got thrown into a furnace by Nebuchadnezzar. And when he looked into the furnace where they were supposed to be burning alive, he saw 4 people. And that 4th person was the pre-incarnate Jesus. Jesus was with them in that situation. And there's many times, though we don't know it, that Jesus has saved us from something or maybe even someone. And you really just gotta be able to submit your life to Jesus. Because a lot of us are still trying to take control of our lives, trying to control everything. And that's probably the reason why you're so stressed out. Because you have a way of thinking of how things should go, but when things don't go the way we planned or want them to, we just start losing our minds. And God wants us to magnify Him. Instead of focusing so much on our problems, we focus more on God and just let Him take the wheel instead of trying to do everything ourselves. Remember, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Remember when Peter was walking towards Jesus in that storm? There's a lot of people that have explained it this way, but let that storm represent all the problems you may be facing right now. At first, Peter was doing good because his eyes were fixed on Jesus when he was walking for those first few minutes or seconds. But when he took his eyes off of Jesus and started looking at how great and how hard the storm was, how violent the storm was, he started drowning. And that's a lot of us right now. We're drowning in our problems. But Jesus is always there to pick us back up. There may be problems that you're going through right now. Maybe you're focusing on things that you want to happen and aren't happening, and now you're scared that they may not happen. But really think about how much faster do you think those problems are gonna come? Or how much do you think the solution's gonna come if you're just sitting there worrying, just looking at that problem. It's like looking at a clock to hit a certain time, and you're just really looking at that clock, waiting for that time to hit, but it just feels like it's going slower because all you're focusing on is that clock. It's not going to go any faster. But when you focus on something else that's not the clock will actually end up moving faster because you're now focused on it. And the more you focus on Jesus, the more you'll be able to get out of that situation faster because you're no longer focused on that. You're just focusing on Jesus, His purpose for you, and just His joy, His peace, His security. In the book of Psalms, it describes God as a strong tower, as a refuge in our ever-present help in trouble. Just try to focus more on God, and maybe even just sit down, talk to Him in prayer. Be like, God, I'm struggling. Like maybe you got bills, maybe you're just struggling internally, whatever it may be. Talk to God about it and ask Him to help you just focus on Him and allow Him to take control of your life. Submit to God, and He will do the best for your life. And once you're out of that situation, you'll just be so happy you decided to focus on God, and it'll build a desire to even focus more on God. So, that's all I have for you today. I hope that helped you in some way, shape, or form. I hope you have the great rest of your day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, God bless.